Roger Coyne, founder of VecViz, a startup seeking to make investment analytics more engaging and accessible through visualization, narrative, and analog. I can tell you how we do this in 4 steps. First, we systematically identify the major tops and bottoms in a price chart and all channels that could be anchored to them. The blue lines in this chart connect the tops and bottoms, and the gray lines are the channels we are referring to. Second, we algorithmically score those channels for the support and resistance they represent using criteria supported by academic research that we will link to below. Third, we scale historic price volatility in terms of support and resistance traversed and train a machine learning price probability model on it, and along with some features related to the geometry of these channels, or chart shape, we'll call it. And fourth, we tag these gray channel lines with narrative elements sourced from Gemini 2.5 that identify the themes and events that likely cause the tops and bottoms that the channels are anchored to occur, along with a characterization of their bullishness or bearishness at the time of their initial occurrence and their ongoing influence. So clearly, we're excited about our framework, and the associated dashboards are out there on the web for anyone to try out, currently free of charge, no login required. But we encourage you to try them out and would love your feedback. That said, we know that a big problem for many users is that our dashboards are remote from their broader investment analysis workflows. There's just so much content out there, it's hard to switch between different investment analytics applications. Thus, I'm thrilled to announce that VecViz has developed an app for the AI-friendly OpenBB Workspace, which to us seems like a place where more and more investment analysis workflows are going to happen. Let's do a quick tour. Here on the upper left, we have our chart depicting the distribution of support and resistance scores referred to earlier, which we called vector strength, with associated price probabilities from the vector model in blue and sigma in red overlaid. OpenBB makes it easy to zoom in. With this chart, we can run our mouse along the edge of this vector strength histogram and identify the strongest vector sets associated with each price point. So as we scroll up here, we're scrolling towards the sigma 95th percentile, the vector model 95th percentile, etc., etc. Hey, why don't we look at vector set 38 up here by the 99th percentile, going about 3 to 6 months out. Vector set 38, and we could take a closer look at it over here on the right. So let's do that. Now, this dark shading isn't the best for viewing these vector lines. You can change the shading to white, but we're gonna leave it, and they're a lot clearer then, but we're gonna leave it dark for now. So here we have vector set 38, and we can view its VEC events that span the time period from January 2022 to December 2024. The key intuition behind VecViz is that price's location within a vector set or channel should correspond to the bullishness and bearishness of the VEC events that are associated with that channel and their associated evolution. Here we see a number of some VEC events are bearish and intensifying, some are bullish and waning, some are neutral and steady, and so with that type of mix of VEC events, you wouldn't necessarily expect to be way up here in the channel. Maybe you don't necessarily have to be down here either, but right now we're kind of at the bottom of the core of the channel, and to get up near that 99th percentile 6 months out, probably need some bullish VEC events or bullish turns in some of these existing Vec events. It's not so surprising that these dark blue lines, which represent VecViz's expected body to the downside and upside, that's basically the probability weighted average value between the current price and the vector model 95th percentile to the upside and downside. That they reside inside the core of this channel, even going out a year. But again, the Vec events encourage you to review several channels and the location of price in those channels and the Vec events for those channels to make sure you don't miss a Vec event. And I also encourage you to take advantage of the broader OpenBB workspace. We have here price targets from OpenBB. They go back to 2022 and they're from a variety of firms, and there's a lot of price targets there for Apple. You certainly can consider those in the context of the vector strength histogram and this price probability table that corresponds to these red and blue lines. You could also consider this TradingView app that OpenBB allows us to import. And here we have TradingView's really neat volume at price for the visible window analysis. That's another good perspective for you. And then, really interesting too is OpenBB allows you to pull in earnings transcript. Here we have Apple's most recent earnings transcript, and all this information is great to have on hand for you to review. But even better, OpenBB has a Copilot that can access a lot of this information and help you draw inferences from it. So this is the core of VecViz related to the probability model, the vector model of price probability. There's a few other widgets I'll highlight that are kind of downstream from that model. One is option fair value estimates by ticker. This is based on the vector model, price probability model. And these option fair values are stated for standardized strikes and standardized expiries, and they're stated in terms of percentage of model date price. We also allow you to compare the vector model based option fair values between tickers. We have this ranking of expected forward price performance called the Vscore. That's based on some of those chart geometry features I mentioned earlier that help us train the vector model on the distance of price movement scaled in terms of support and resistance. Those features are listed on the periphery of this spider chart, and featured in this spider chart is the ticker that we're looking at, Apple, as of the most recent model date, and the closest comparable for the given time horizon among top quintile performers and bottom quintile performers. And so this is the analog piece of how VecViz is trying to make investment analytics more accessible. And so you could certainly pull these tickers and their corresponding model dates into the Copilot and get price charts up through those model dates for those tickers on the fly for you to confirm with your own eyes that there is similarity between them. And then we have a history of the price probability percentiles for the vector model and sigma for each of our 6 standard time horizons. And finally, we have a data table that sometimes is helpful for the Copilot. It'll have a whole host of metrics, those price probabilities, the option fair values, those metrics that go into the Vscore, and you could OpenBB has a great filtering function that lets you sort and there's all sorts of interesting screening functionality we can do case studies on in the future. I encourage you to check out OpenBB further, and I also encourage you, if you're interested in VecViz further, check out our site and play with the dashboards. And again, let us know if you're interested in getting VecViz Dashboards via an OpenBB app. Contact info in the description below. Thanks. Bye.